Ratan Tata's success story. In this video, we are going to discuss Ratan Tata's stories, his biggest achievements, and his journey. Today, Tata has his presence in almost all areas, from the cars we travel, the clothes we wear, the hotels we live in, to the tea that we drink. So, how did Ratan Tata manage such a big group, and at the same time, how did he manage to scale it to become the country's largest conglomerate? Today, we pay respect by taking a look at Ratan Tata's success story, his journey, and his achievements along the way. Part 1. Ratan Tata's childhood and youth. Ratan Naval Tata was born to one of the richest families on December 28, 1937. He is the great-grandson of Jamsetji Tata, the founder of Tata Group. His father, Naval Tata, was the adopted son of Ratanji Tata and Nawajbai Tata. His mother was Suni Tata. Despite hailing from a prominent family, Ratan went through a disturbing childhood growing up. This was because of his parents splitting up when he was just 10. Following the split, he was raised by his grandmother at a manor called Tata Palace. His grandmother formally adopted him through the J.N. Petit Parsi orphanage. He recalls being ragged at school over the divorce of his parents, as this was very uncommon in the 1950s. As the time passed, the ragging only got worse when his mother remarried. It was during these tough times when his grandmother played a very important role in shaping his character. His grandmother taught him the importance of retaining dignity at all costs. This gave him an alternative instead of fighting back. Ratan Tata has quoted multiple times stating how his grandmother helped him develop a strong set of values and ethics system which have guided him ever since he was a boy. He also recalls that it was his grandmother who helped him master the courage to speak up and at the same time also taught him to do so in a kind and dignified manner. She always stood by his side in instances where he disagreed with his father, like when he wanted to study in US instead of UK and when he decided to become an architect against his father's wishes of him becoming an engineer. Ratan Tata went on to study in the US at Cornell University, where he received a degree of architecture in 1959. He got an architecture job right out of the college where he worked for 2 years. Ratan speaks highly of Los Angeles as he spent some of the best years of his life in Los Angeles. He loved the weather, had a job and owned a car. In his post in Humans of Bombay, Ratan Tata speaks about how he fell in love and almost got married in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, he was forced to move to India due to his grandmother's failing health. Even though he expected his future spouse to move with him to India, her parents weren't comfortable with this due to the instability of India due to the ongoing Indo-China war. This meant the end of the relationship. Part 2. Ratan Tata's story. A new beginning at Tata. In 1961, after returning to India, Ratan Tata joined the Tata Group. His first job involved working with the blue-collar employees at Tata Steel Limited in Jamshedpur. It was total waste of time. I shuffled around from department to department, but nobody actually told me what to do. I guess I was looked as a family member, so no one said anything, but I spent 6 months just trying to make myself look useful, Tata said. Ratan Tata worked as an apprentice on the shop floor and his responsibilities included shoveling limestone and working with the furnaces. After gaining experience, Ratan Tata was promoted to management during the 1970s. He was made director and was tasked with leading National Radio and Electronics (NELCO). He was able to turn the company around, but the company eventually collapsed due to the economic slowdown. In 1977, he was tasked to turn around another troubled company, the Mumbai-based Impress Mills. He succeeded in doing so, but the refusal to add investment in the company and the Mumbai textile workers' strike led by Datta Samant eventually led to the closure in 1986. Part 3. Ratan Tata's appointment as chairman. In 1991, the legendary chairman of Tata Sons, J.R.D. Tata, stepped down and named Ratan Tata as his successor. This came as a surprise not only to the management of the group but also to everyone outside the company, including the media. Few of the existing executives like Ruzi Modi of Tata Steel, Darbari Seth of Tata Tea and Tata Chemicals, Ajit Kerkar of Tata Hotels, and Nani Palkhiwala, director on the board of several Tata companies, who were expected to succeed J.R.D. Tata. They were already established names in the industry. This led to a bitter feud within the group. Modi even went on to openly voice his disagreement over Ratan. The media too went after Ratan Tata and branded him as the wrong choice and a result of nepotism. Unfortunately for Ratan Tata, he didn't possess the charisma of his predecessor, J.R.D. Tata. One of the first reforms Ratan Tata put in place was setting a retirement age. According to this policy, the retirement age for directors was set at 70 and senior executives at 65. This began replacing the staff with younger talents. Modi was sacked after a messy scrap. Seth and Kerkar retired over the years as they crossed the age limit, and Palkiwala quit citing ill health. Once the succession issue was sorted, Ratan Tata could now focus on what was important, that is, leading the group. He convinced group companies to pay a royalty to Tata Sons for the use of the brand name and also made individual companies report operationally to the group office. Under him, the group exited businesses like cement, textile, and cosmetics, and it increased its focus on other industries such as software and telecommunication, finance, and retail. Looking back, this can be seen as prepping the company to lead changes that were already taking place in the developing nation. During this process, J.R.D. Tata guided Ratan as a mentor against all the criticism that was thrown at him. Part 4. Ratan Tata's Achievements. I don't believe in taking right decisions. I take decisions and then make them right. Ratan Tata. Ratan Tata has set out to re-establish the group's identity. For this, it was very important that he welded the organization together in a more cohesive way than it has been in the past, so that it could identify itself more as a group. This new identity couldn't have the same rusty image the company had over the years. Factors that helped here were the infusion of younger talent, which made way for the innovation and disinvestments from several companies. One of the Ratan Tata's biggest achievements would be of the role it played in the Indian automobile industry. Although one would think of Nano when it comes to Tata, it was actually Indica that brought forward this revolution. The Indian truck maker set its eyes on creating India's first truly Indian car, Indica. This car was the brainchild of Tata. He promised a vehicle which has the dimensions of Maruti Zen, the cabin size of an Ambassador, and the fuel efficiency of Maruti 800. Its launch in December 1998 transitioned the group into serious car making. Today, the group has gone ahead to become one of the largest car companies in India. Despite the manufacturing and quality problems, an initial loss of Rs 500 crore was declared in 2001. However, the Indica became the best seller and marked a real entry of Tata Motors into cars. The company had already signaled its intent with the launch of Sierra, which would be called a crossover vehicle today, and the Estate, a station wagon. Another revolutionary introduction by the Tatas was the Nano. The Nano was the dearest project of Ratan Tata. He decided to create a car as the price point within the reach of average Indian consumer after seeing a family of 4 on a motorcycle in heavy Bombay rains. His concern for the safety of nuclear family led to him promising to make a car that would cost only Rs 1 lakh. Tata implemented all means to reduce its price and the maintenance cost. He was the one who suggested that the car should be fitted with just one windscreen wiper. Despite these efforts at the time of the launch, the cost of the car was still higher, but since he has promised, he went ahead and delivered the promise of Rs 1 lakh car. Today, Ratan Tata also serves on the board of Fiat, Alcoa, Mitsubishi, and Rolls-Royce. Another one of Ratan Tata's greatest achievement was taking the Tata Group to a global stage. This was made possible over a series of acquisitions. In 2000, the group acquired London-based Tetley Tea. In 2004, it purchased the truck manufacturing operations of South Korea's Daewoo Motors, and the Indian Hotels Company Limited took over the management of the Pierre in New York. Ratan Tata's biggest acquisition was the purchase of Anglo-Dutch steelmaker Chorus Group in 2007. The company has since been renamed Tata Steel Europe. The acquisition of Chorus, which was Europe's second largest steel maker, catapulted the company in becoming the world's 7th largest steel producer. Under Ratan Tata, TCS went public and Tata Motors was listed in the New York Stock Exchange, giving its international recognition. During the 21 years, he led the Tata Group revenues grew over 40 times and profit by over 50 times. Among many other honors accorded to him during his career, He was the recipient of two of the highest civilian awards of India, the Padma Vibhushan in 2008 and the Padma Bhushan in 2000. Part 5. Ratan Tata's Challenges. Ratan Tata has faced many challenges during his tenure at Tata. Initially, when the group has entered the passenger cars business, it seemed as if it was a great error on his part. Ratan Tata decided to sell his struggling business, that is the passenger vehicle business. Ford officials voiced their interest after a trip to Tata's Bombay headquarters. But when Tata and his team visited Detroit, they were humiliated by Ford. The then chairman, Bill Ford, reportedly said to Tata that he was quite out of his depth. An ex-employee of Tata who was present in the meeting recalls they were told, "When you do not know anything, why did you start passenger car division at all?" They said that they will do us a favor by buying our car division. The humiliation ended when the group decided to return to New York the same evening. Tata was reportedly somber the whole flight. Ratan Tata turned the tide by thriving in the Indian markets. 9 years later, Ford was on the verge of bankruptcy after the 2008 global financial meltdown. Tata swooped in and acquired the auto company's iconic Jaguar and Land Rover brands for $2.3 billion. Ford chairman Bill Ford thanked Ratan Tata, saying, "You are doing us a big favor by buying Jaguar and Land Rover." Another testament of Tata's leadership would be during the 26/11 attack. Even with the risks surrounding him, he stood all alone outside Taj hotels and supervised the activities to help the victims. He also personally visited the families of all the 80 employees who were killed or injured and even asked the families and dependents as to what they wanted him to do. In closure, ups and downs in life are very important to keep us going, because a straight line, even in the ECG, means we are not alive. Ratan Tata. In December 2012, Ratan Tata retired as a chairman of Tata Sons at an age of 75. Despite this, Tata has stated that never before he felt the urge to do more. He has now diverted his efforts toward philanthropic activities and continues to head the group's charitable trusts. Morgan Whitgill states that in hindsight, Ratan Tata's appointment in 1991 as the chairman was the best thing that could have happened to the Tata Group. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.